Good evening, it's Karen Harding, criminal defence lawyer from Auckland, New Zealand. Today is the 6th of November 2016 and we've been involved in a seminar series today talking about therapeutic jurisprudence, problem-solving law and the advance of problem-solving justice, creative problem-solving. We've been looking recently at integrative delivery services and how they can enhance the delivery of justice in the courts and the delivery of legal services to your clients to help reduce reoffending and increase their well-being. In the last video we talked about an exciting development in public defence providers offering holistic services, and I was providing you with some examples in the United States. We discussed the Youth Advocacy Project in the Juvenile Defender Unit in Massachusetts, and we also had a discussion about the Wisconsin State Defender's Office that's using holistic integrated services. And we're going to move on. We also looked at the holistic service provider at the Neighbourhood Defender Service at Harlem that had some really exciting services going on there. And just moving on, we're just going to talk about another couple of other examples. The Knox County Defence Public Defender, they've been using holistic lawyering approach, using integrated services model to provide public defence services, and they've got an entire wing of their offices dedicated to therapeutic social services that clients can voluntarily join, and the services which also benefit their local community, and they seek to obtain a therapeutic outcome for their clients by providing the clients access to counselling, mental health services, behavioural health services, literacy, life skill classes, budgeting, parenting skill classes, alcohol and drug treatment, job counselling, and a program for youth focused on communication through art. They also provide civil legal services, accessing and assisting clients to obtain their driver's license and helping them with their employment issues, relationship issues, immigration, workplace injury and social security claims. I must say that that's just a really fabulous service, and I really wish that New Zealand would embrace some of these issues, and I would love to see the New Zealand Public Defence Service offering this integrated delivery of services. I think it would be greatly beneficial to New Zealand. Another example we have is the Rhode Island Public Defenders. So the Rhode Island Public Defenders Office has adopted a holistic community outreach program focusing primarily on the interventions at arraignment stage, looking at alternatives to incarceration, and they provide assessments. So a study of the data that they collected from their program in 2004, which was through the period of March 2004 to September 2004, they found that prison time was reduced and that saved an estimated $4 million of costs, along with significant savings in court time. So well done, Rhode Island, for looking at those kind of programs that obviously benefited the community and the justice system and the prison system significantly and increased the well-being of their communities. Now I was going to move on to have a look at some not-for-profit law models. Back in October 2011, the Chief Justice at that time called for lawyering to be on a not-for-profit basis, on the basis that law is calling in search of truth, justice, freedom, equality, peace, and love of country and fellow man. So that's a quote from their Chief Justice, who urged for a re-engineering in the way that law is practiced, advocating higher values should replace business-orientated services as a model for lawyers. And he was advocating for lawyers to be selfless and for public service-orientated service delivery of legal services for the betterment of society and the nation that they work in. So how could this concept be applied? So some firms have become non-profit in some places. I've got some examples that I've got from the United States. So it's tricky to do it. Obviously you've got to have funding, and if you're going to provide an integrated service solution you need to have a lot of resources, because you're going to provide an interdisciplinary mix of services to address your client's need, and you've got to provide a seamless service, it's got to be effective, and you've got to achieve the goals of your charter for your organisation. So if you're going to do that and you want integrated legal services, social work and counselling services free to the clients, you need to offer a multidisciplinary team funded through community donations or government grants. So this is something that maybe we could look at in New Zealand for how we could upsource our community law centres, so because there are not-for-profit centres, so they're funded by levies on lawyers and also from government funding. So we could look at ways to really upskilling them and providing more integrated services that we could do perhaps through that, to provide a more holistic service, maybe an integration with the public defenders and some sort of organisation. So those kind of services will be looking also in an expanded model on some of the theory of this is to help provide employment opportunities for clients. So there are examples of some not-for-profit kind of law firms, community law firms, that have also had spin-off not-for-profit companies that help their clients get into work and become fully engaged in their local communities, and members of those non-profit community organisations for legal services sitting on various different boards, advisory boards in the community. So one example of a not-for-profit defence service is the Bronx Defenders. It's a private non-profit legal practice applying therapeutic jurisprudence. It was established in 1997 to service an economically depressed and under-resourced community in New York City. They provide criminal, family and civil legal services. They also advocate for improved policies and practices to protect the rights of individuals involved in the criminal, family and civil court systems. Their stated goal is not just to succeed in court, but to make a long-term difference in our clients' lives. Wonderful. They also advocate locally and nationally for holistic representation and for community defender movement. So they have set up a project called the Centre for Holistic Defence, seeking to transform the practice of defence lawyering. Well done, Bronx Defenders, and I look forward to reading some more research about that, and I think we should really look at how examples like that could really be applied in New Zealand. Another really good example is the Georgia Justice Project. The Georgia Justice Project is a non-for-profit private law firm funded by community donations that provides defence services in Atlanta in the United States for free. They service hundreds of people per year. The firm decides how many and which clients they will accept. They have a rigorous client intake project and process to select clients who are committed to improving their lives. Clients sign a contract setting out their obligations, which may include attending counselling, rehabilitation and educational programs. So the Georgia Justice Project offers a long-term comprehensive service model for their criminal law clients, continuing to maintain engagement with clients for years after the courtroom services have been provided. They offer free legal and social work services for as long as the client needs them. Their approach is greatly influenced by the teaching of Martin Luther King Jr. Clients reintegrating back into the community, when they've finished their terms of imprisonment, will have resources made available to them on release. The Georgia Justice Project helps clients get back into the workforce by providing employment opportunities with an associated landscaping company run by the project, which give the clients work experience, job training and a paycheck. The recidivism rate for the Georgia Justice Project clients is 17%. This is less than 1/3 of the national average of recidivism in the United States. Fewer than 7% were sentenced to further terms of imprisonment. Nationally, the incarceration rate in the United States is over 50%. The Georgia Justice Project has been found to be cost-effective, resulting in savings for the state of Georgia from reduced recidivism. So the whole project has stopped people from reoffending. It's engaged with committed people who want to change their lives, so they are going to attend their counselling, their rehabilitation. If their crime is so serious they're going to get sentenced to jail, they're not going to be on their own when they come out. They're going to have integrated services provided to them when they come out. If they need work, they can join the landscaping company and get in on there and earn money. and because it's not for profit, all the money's going into providing the wages and the resources for setting up all the counselling, the referrals, and doing a really good job, and it's benefited the community really well. So it's a really exciting project, and I'd really like to encourage the New Zealand government and the justice system to do more than just talk about it. Clearly we've been running these drug courts in this 5-year pilot program that's almost up, and they have been enormously successful, and the New Zealand government has just sort of announced in November 2016 that they're going to spend $1 billion building another prison. Let me tell you, if we spent $1 billion engaging in these integrated legal services with the problem-solving courts and the integrated services of the community law centres, the public defenders, and upskilling and upgrading the defence lawyers we already have to provide these holistic services, and we actually get in and problem solve, and you provide Care New Zealand with the resources that they need, the Harmony Trust, even your CADS programs, to get in and help your alcohol addicted people with actual services that help them, along with compulsory psychological counselling, so that the family court, for example, is able to do those referrals that they used to have to get the counselling sessions for people if they were having problems, so you could get at least 6 free sessions of counselling. Then we would make better progress and there'd be less reoffending. And in the end, if you don't want people drink driving and killing people on the road, you've got to stop the drinking. It's connected with the getting into the car. And why are you drinking and driving? Well, why are you drinking in the first place? And why are you drinking to so excess that you can't recognise that you're over the zero on your zero alcohol licence, or over the tiny limit of 250, or over the prosecution limit of 400. Why? Because you haven't had any alcohol education. And why are you coming back on the 3rd or subsequent offence? Sometimes I see clients coming in here on their 6th or 10th drink drive who've never engaged in any alcohol counselling at all, and yet they have a very lengthy criminal history. So clearly, traditional modes of dealing with people, of just putting them on community work, popping them on community detention, on home detention and in jail, is not working. What we need is to engage in the programs. And so what I do as a lawyer who practices holistic law is to engage in services, to do the screening, to ascertain the underlying problems and then refer them to the services. I'm pretty much a one-woman band, so I can't have all the counselling services in-house, but I'm really good at screening them, and I've built up really good relationships with providers, and I do make sure that the referral process is seamless by liaising with those providers while the clients are here to set up their appointments for them, and making sure that the provider knows exactly why the client's coming and that they're going to need a report. So mostly we're engaging with private services, and I'm dealing with private clients who are able to pay for those resources. What the government needs to do is, in justice, make sure that we have those resources provided. So we have, for example, at the Auckland District Court, homeless people coming in regularly, and it's really sad. You got yourself in this sad situation, but not much is being done about it. We were having the instigation of click workers. But we need more intensive services. So this $1 billion, we could spend this in a better way, because we need to reduce reoffending. We need to problem solve. Everything needs to problem solve. Now, that means that at the point you are sending people to jail, what are you doing with these jails? My personal view is that the jails almost should be like boarding schools of rehabilitation. With so many classes of things you've got to do, and training and re-education, and there's not enough of that going on in there either. Some prisons have that, but on the remand prisons, some people sit there for years and not achieve anything, and in some of the other prisons they're locked up for 23 hours a day, only reading their court disclosure, which does tend to make those people rather mentally unstable if they're just going over and over their trial transcript from their rape case. It's really not healthy. So we need to arrange these integrated legal services, and then the next step is for those people who have gone to prison, they need to be intensively rehabilitated in there. It seems a bit late on a lot of the cases we have for parole, when you've had a sex offender in parole who's been there for 8 years and he's come up for parole, and they say, oh, you should have done a sex offender reintegration course, but they never offered it to the person until they're up for parole. Then they can't get parole, then they have to go and do the course. Well, the best time to strike at doing these courses is when they first get into the prison, and we need programs available before that, because we've got to strike while the iron's hot. When the person is first charged, they're highly motivated to do something about these issues. So it's really important that we embrace a program of integrated legal services and integrated justice services, because that ultimately can save the taxpayer $1 billion. We don't need $1 billion prison if we reduce the reoffending by problem solving why they're offending. It's really obvious some of the reasons why people are offending: drugs and alcohol, family violence. Those are all things that we can deal with. Those are all things we can treat. And that's how we can get on top of the recidivism. And when you're looking at issues to do with poverty and intergenerational offending, we can get in and deal with that if we problem solve. When we get the parents coming into court, or when we get the young person coming into court, we can get in and work with the whole family. There's a lot of things we can do to make things better, and we need to approach things by applying the underlying concept of therapeutic jurisprudence to increase the well-being of all the participants in court in the community. And then we only need prison then for the worst offenders, and then we've still got to constructively deal with those offenders in jail so that they are resourced to come out better people. So it's, people think, oh, well, you do the time and do a hard yard, you know. Well, we might as well go to whip them 50 times with the lashings, throw stones on their head. That doesn't really work, does it? You just kill the person off and make them injured. So what we have in a Western society is we have the ability to re-educate people. And that's what we need to use our justice system to do. Re-educate them before sentencing, re-educate them after sentencing, re-educate them while they're in incarceration. If they're coming out on extended supervision terms, re-educate them there. So you're constantly re-educating the people and treating them. And then people need work, they need to earn an income. So it's so fabulous, places like the Georgia Justice Project, that they send up after client care, and you can come back and you can get hooked into employment through your lawyer and help you with a really good service. And in the end, that is acting as a holistic lawyer and in preventative law. And those are some truly really exciting developments that have gone on to other countries. New Zealand does not have to be left behind. We just need to do the resources. The government has known about these kind of things for a long time, and the engagement of community courts and community justice projects for it. But we need to spend the money on it, because it is the only way to stop crime from affecting communities, and it is the only way to stop the stuff about spending $1 billion on a prison. Cutting back on drug and alcohol services was just no good, and they need to have their funding increased, and we need to access these services. And in some other projects that I've written about in my other master's papers to do with community justice centres, you can combine within the justice block other communications such as your centres for rehabilitation, and allowing your courthouse to become a community justice centre and allowing people to access a whole lot of resources. Let's help people, let's build them up, let's improve the community by resourcing the legal service providers such as your public defence services and your community law centres to provide these integrated services so they can help their community and prevent reoffending. And we can target it towards our Indigenous people as well, to provide culturally appropriate services in the communities with high levels of Indigenous population, so that they can have targeted services, and to deliver culturally appropriate services in the court as well that help best meet those needs to reduce reoffending. And that will also enhance the justice outcome of obtaining respect and feel like those people have been heard, so they respect the outcome of the court case. Thank you. I hope you found this seminar helpful.